After the long war between humans and the alien race called the Velari, peace had finally come. The Velari were not like the scary monsters humans once believed. They were tall, smooth-skinned, with glowing eyes and gentle voices. Now humans and Velari worked together to rebuild the damaged planets. Jack was one of the human engineers sent to help. He was young, friendly, and always curious about alien cultures. The Velari found him interesting, especially one Velari girl named Zairi was different from the others. She didn't speak much, but she always watched Jack. Every time he smiled, her cheeks glowed faintly. Jack thought it was cute. They worked side by side for days, fixing machines and building shelters. They didn't talk much, but their eyes said enough. Then came the Peace Festival. It was a celebration held under the glowing twin moons. Lights floated in the air, strange music played, and both humans and Velari danced around fire rings. Jack laughed, ate weird alien food, and drank a glowing blue drink that made his head spin in a fun way. Zairi stood under a tree, watching the sky. Jack saw her alone and walked over. "You're not dancing?" he asked. Zairi shook her head. "Velari do not dance in public," Jack smiled. "You should try it. It's fun." She looked at him, her silver eyes calm. "Are humans always this free?" He laughed. "Sometimes, especially during parties." Then, in a moment he would never forget, Jack leaned forward and kissed her cheek, just a quick, playful kiss. But the moment his lips touched her skin, Zairi's body froze. Her eyes widened. The lights around them suddenly flickered. She stared at Jack as if he had just said something shocking. "What's wrong?" Jack asked. "Zyr, I didn't speak." She just turned around and ran into the woods. Jack stood there, confused. "Was it something I did?" The music kept playing. People laughed and danced. But something felt strange now. The next morning, Jack woke up to a loud knock on his door. Still sleepy, he opened it and saw 3 tall Velari men standing outside. One of them was older, with long white markings on his face. His eyes were sharp. "You are Jack, the human?" the old one asked. "Yes. I am Alar, father of Zairi. You kissed her." Jack blinked. Yeah, just a little kiss on the cheek." Ilar nodded. "Then you are now bonded. You will come with us." "The child must be accepted." Jack froze. "Wait, what? What child?" Ilar tilted his head. "The one Zairi now carries." Jack laughed nervously. No, that's not possible. It was just a kiss." "That's not how things work. It is how our people work," Ilar said. "A kiss is sacred. It is life-giving. You have chosen her, and she has accepted." "I didn't mean it like that." "You did it," Ilar said firmly. "Now you must face what comes." Zairi sat inside a quiet room filled with glowing crystals. She looked calm, but her eyes were full of emotion when Jack walked in. "Why did you run?" Jack asked. "Because I was scared," she said softly. "You kissed me. That means union." My body responded. "I didn't know," Jack said. "In human culture, it's not serious. Sometimes it's just fun." Zairi looked down. "Not for us. A Velari kiss is powerful. It begins the joining." Jack stared at her. "You're really pregnant? From just a kiss?" She nodded. "Our bodies mix energy. Yours awakened mine. Now a child is forming." Jack sat down, feeling dizzy. "I didn't sign up for this." Zairi looked at him. "But you did. When you touched me, your energy chose me." He looked at her glowing skin, her soft voice, her calm nature. She wasn't lying. She truly believed this. "What happens now?" he asked. "You become part of my clan," Zairi said. "The child is not only Velari, it is also human. That has never happened before. Is that bad?" Zairi stood and walked closer. "It is unknown. Some may fear it. Some may want it for power. That's when Jack realized this wasn't just about love or culture. This was much bigger. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He sat by his window, staring at the alien stars. What had he done? He thought it was just a kiss. Just a fun, silly moment. But now, he might be the father of the first human Valari child in the universe. And something told him this child was going to change everything. Asterisk, it wasn't a dream. Jack woke up and saw the glowing blue egg on the table. It pulsed softly, like it was breathing. He had tried to sleep. He really had. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. Face Ziri's calm silver eyes. And her soft voice saying, "This is our child." And that word echoed again and again in his mind. He was just an engineer. A human. A guy who kissed an alien girl at a party. But now, somehow, he was a father. That morning, the Valari elders arrived again. This time, they brought Jack a long black robe with silver symbols. They told him to wear it. He asked, why? The eldest Valari, Ilar, simply said, "Today is your bond ceremony." Jack almost choked on his drink. Wait, what bond? I didn't agree to anything. Ilar just stared at him. You kissed her. That was your agreement. They took Jack to a huge crystal hall in the center of the village. The roof was open, and soft green light fell from the twin suns. Hundreds of Valari stood silently in a circle. Ziri was already there, wearing a long silver dress, her skin glowing brighter than ever. She held the blue egg in her hands like it was treasure. Jack whispered to her, "What's going on?" "What is this place?" Ziri turned to him. "This is the Hall of Life. You are being introduced as a life giver." Jack blinked. "A what?" Ziri looked at him with a soft smile. "You gave me energy. I gave it shape. Now the clan welcomes you." Before he could argue, a drum sound echoed across the hall. Deep and slow, the crowd began to hum. It wasn't music, it was something else. Something ancient. Then Ziri stepped forward. She raised the egg toward the sky and said, "He is chosen. The child is forming. We honor the gift." Everyone bowed. Except Jack. He just stood there, awkward and confused. After the ceremony, Jack pulled Ziri aside. His voice was low, but sharp. "Ziri, I don't understand. I'm not ready to be a father. I didn't know what a kiss meant to your people." Ziri nodded slowly. "I believe you, but the bond was made." Jack looked at the egg. It pulsed brighter when he stepped closer. It seemed to respond to him. He felt something deep in his chest, like a strange connection. "Is this thing alive already?" he asked. Zyr. I touched the egg gently. "It is not a thing. It is our child. And yes, it is alive. It hears us." Jack backed away. "That's impossible." But the egg pulsed again, brighter. Ziri whispered, "It knows your voice, Jack." Later that day, Jack walked through the village alone. Valari children ran by him, laughing. But their parents watched him from a distance, some with respect, others with suspicion. He overheard two Valari warriors whispering, "That human, his child will be different. It may be dangerous or powerful." Jack walked faster. He didn't like the way they said different. Back in his room, he sat on the floor and stared at the egg. "I didn't ask for this," he said quietly. "But you're here now." He reached out and placed his hand on the egg. It grew warm. A voice soft and tiny whispered in his mind, "Father." Jack gasped and pulled his hand back. What the hell was that? He whispered. The egg pulsed once, then again. "Father." The voice was real. It was inside his head. Jack stood up fast, heart racing. He grabbed his cum device and called Earth Base. But before anyone answered, his door opened. Ziri stepped in slowly. "You heard it, didn't you?" Jack looked at her, shocked. "You knew this would happen." She nodded. "Our children grow fast." In 7 sun cycles, it will reach 10 human years. 7 days? Jack whispered. That's insane. Zairi looked serious. You must stay with it. It needs you to form a mind. Without you, it could become unstable. Unstable? Zairi paused. Human thoughts. Valari powers. If not balanced, the child may lose control. Jack stared at her. Are you saying this baby could be dangerous? Zairi looked at the egg with both fear and love. I'm saying it could be unstoppable. Asterisk, it was quiet at first, not too quiet. Jack woke up before sunrise, sweating. He didn't know why. Something felt wrong. The air in the room was warm. Too warm. Then he heard it. A soft cracking sound. Crack, crack. He sat up and turned toward the table. The glowing blue egg, the one Zairi gave him, was shaking. Crack. Jack, single quotes, eyes widened. No. No, it's too early. He jumped to his feet. Zairi said it needs 7 days. It's only been 3. But the egg didn't care about time. It cracked open with a sharp snap, and blue light poured out, filling the room. Jack shielded his eyes. When the light faded, something was standing in the middle of the broken shell. It was small, about the size of a 5-year-old human. Its skin was pale blue like the Valari, but its eyes, those were human. Brown, curious, wide awake. The child looked at Jack and smiled. Father. It said in perfect English. Jack froze. The room was spinning. His heart raced. You can speak? He whispered. The child tilted its head. I learned from your voice while I was inside. It walked forward, calm, as if this was completely normal. Jack stumbled back. This isn't right. You're growing too fast. The child looked at its hands. My body follows both paths, Valari time and human memory. I grow fast. But I remember everything. Jack stared. You remember the egg? I remember before the egg, the child said. Darkness, warmth, then you. Always you. Jack didn't know whether to run or cry. Just then, the door opened. I stepped in. She didn't look surprised. He has emerged, she said softly. Jack turned to her, panic in his voice. He spoke. He stood. He knows me. Zairi nodded. Yes, he bonded with your voice. That's why I told you to stay close. Without you, he would not be complete. The child walked toward Zairi and held her hand. He looked up at her. Mother, Zairi smiled. You are strong. Jack looked between them. You knew this would happen. You knew the speed, the memory, all of it. Zairi looked at him. I told you, Valari children grow fast, but this one is not fully Valari. Over the next few hours, the child learned faster than any being Jack had ever seen. He read a book in 5 minutes. He built a small machine from scrap parts in 20. And then he began to ask strange questions. Why do humans lie? Why? Did the Valari fight the humans? Am I allowed to choose who I want to be? Jack didn't know how to answer. And then that night, the real trouble began. A message came to Jack's COM device. To human engineer. Jack M. Subject. Unregistered hybrid detected. Location. Valari Village 14B status. Extraction requested. His hands went cold. He showed it to Zairi. She didn't blink. They found out, she said. I warned you. Who? Jack asked. Who found out? The Unity Council, she said. They monitor all cross-species births. Yours is the first known child of Valari and human. Jack paced the room. They're coming to take him, aren't they? Zairi nodded. Not to protect, to study. Jack looked at the child, who now sat quietly in the corner, eyes glowing slightly. He was drawing something on the wall. Strange symbols, circles, lines, stars. What are you drawing? Jack asked. The child smiled. My dream, a map. I saw it last night. Jack looked closely. It wasn't just a map. It was a star chart. Dozens of planets. Some Jack had never seen. Some weren't even discovered yet. Where did you see these? He whispered. The child answered, I was born knowing. Jack and Zairi looked at each other. This wasn't just a baby. This was something new. Something the galaxy had never seen. And the galaxy was already coming for him. Jack woke up to silence. Too silent. No birds. No wind. No village noise. Nothing. He looked at the corner where the child usually slept. Empty. He jumped up. Zairi? No answer. His chest tightened. He ran outside and stopped. The ground around the village was burned. A wide circle of scorched earth spread out from their hut, blackened like a firestorm. But there was no smoke, no smell. Just cold ashes and dust. In the center of the burn stood the child, eyes closed, hands glowing. Zairi stood behind him, frozen. Her hair floated in the air as if gravity was confused. Jack shouted, Hey! What's going on? The child opened his eyes. They were glowing white. And then he said it. I dreamed of fire. So I made it. Jack rushed forward and grabbed the child's arms. They were hot, too hot to touch. Zairi shouted, Don't get close. He's still in dream state. Jack didn't care. You have to stop. You're hurting people. The child blinked. And just like that, the glow faded. Zairi gasped and fell to the ground. The floating stopped. Birds began singing again. The wind returned. The village slowly came back to life. But nothing felt normal. Jack held the child and stared into his calm face. What did you do? The child looked up. I don't know. I was sleeping. And then I woke up, and the ground was gone. Later that day, Jack and Zairi sat with the Valari elders. Ilar, Zairi's father, looked at the child and said, He has awakened too early. His mind is strong but still forming. Jack said, He's dreaming things, and those dreams are real. That's not normal. Zairi added, It's not just power, it's memory. The child may be pulling knowledge from both our species and from something older. The elders looked worried. One said, There's an ancient Valari story of a child born from two lights, one of order, one of chaos. That child could shape worlds. Jack frowned. You think this is that child? Ilar said quietly, We do not think, we fear. That night, Jack sat with the child on a hill, away from the village. They watched the stars. Jack asked, Do you know what you are? The child didn't answer. Then he said something strange. I heard a voice last night. Jack looked at him. What voice? The child turned his head slowly. It wasn't yours or hers. It was older. It said my name. You don't have a name yet, Jack said. The child stared into space. Yes, I do. But I forgot it when I was born. Jack felt a chill. What else did it say? The child whispered. It said I'm not the first. The next morning, two things happened. 1. The village's power system exploded. 2. A human military ship entered orbit above the planet. Zairi ran into Jack's room. They're here. Jack grabbed his cum. How did they find us so fast? Zairi looked at the child who stood calmly in the middle of the room. The child called them. Jack turned. What? I didn't mean to, the child said softly. I just thought about Earth, about your world. And then I felt them coming. Outside, panic.VLAR, warriors gathered with weapons. Human soldiers beamed down in armor. One of them approached Jack. Step away from the hybrid, the commander ordered. This is now a military operation. Jack stood in front of the child. He's just a kid. You're not taking him. The commander frowned. That's not a kid. That's an unknown energy threat. If he gets into the wrong hands. Jack stepped closer. If you take him, he's in the wrong hands. Suddenly, the child raised his hand. Everyone stopped moving, completely still. Even time seemed to freeze. Jack was the only one who could move. He turned in shock. "What did you do?" The child's voice echoed through the air, calm and clear. "I'm not ready to choose, so I paused the game." Jack whispered, "What game?" The child looked up at him. "The one I was born into." The world was still frozen. Soldiers stood like statues. Birds hung motionless in the sky. Even the wind had stopped. Only Jack and the child could move. "Time is paused," the child said again. "I didn't know I could do this, until now." Jack looked around, confused and scared. "How are you doing this?" "You're just a kid." The child turned slowly. "I'm not just your son. I'm something else." And she knew. Jack blinked. "Who?" The child pointed behind him. Ziri stood there, moving, alive, she wasn't frozen like the others. Jack stared at her. "You can move too?" "How?" Ziri stepped forward, calm but serious. "Because I've done this before." Jack's heart dropped. "What did you just say?" Ziri's eyes shimmered with soft light. "I've seen time pause. I've touched the edge of the universe. I was chosen. A long time ago." Jack stepped back. "You told me you were just a technician, a normal Velari girl," Ziri nodded. "That's what you needed to believe. If I had told you the truth, you would have run." Jack's voice rose. "You lied to me. You planned this child." "I didn't plan the child," Ziri said. "I hoped for it." The child walked between them, silent. Listening, Ziri continued, "My people have ancient knowledge, forbidden stories. One of them speaks of a bridge between species, a being born from both logic and emotion, order and chaos." She looked at Jack. "We believed it was only a myth. But then we found your DNA." "You used me," Jack whispered. Ziri's voice softened. "I chose you because your energy is wild. Human hearts carry chaos, but also love." Jack's mind was spinning. "So all of this, the kiss, the bonding, it was all part of some plan?" Ziri nodded slowly. "Not a plan, a risk." The child spoke. "That's why I was born fast. That's why I see things others can't." He looked at Ziri. "And that's why you're afraid now." Ziri didn't speak. The child took Jack's hand. "I saw her memories. She knew what I might become." Jack turned to her. "What is he becoming?" Ziri looked down. "A mind like this, growing so fast, could become a god. Or a weapon." Suddenly, the child's eyes flashed. Time snapped back. The wind blew. Birds flew again. Soldiers moved, confused. The human commander shouted, "Take the hybrid now." Jack grabbed the child. Ziri moved to block them. "No," she shouted. "You don't know what he is." But the soldiers raised their weapons. The child stepped forward. He didn't attack. He simply spoke, "Stop." And the soldiers froze again, this time without time freezing, their eyes wide. But their bodies locked. They could not move. Ziri turned to Jack, panic on her face. "He's learning faster than we thought. I wanted to guide him. I thought love would be enough. But now, I don't know if I was right." Jack whispered, "What if we can't control him?" The child looked at both of them. "I don't want to be controlled," he said. "I want to choose." Then he pointed to the sky. "Someone else is watching." In the sky, a third ship appeared. Not human, not Velari, something unknown, black. Silent, no lights, no signal. Just presence. Ziri's face turned pale. That's not from this galaxy." Jack said, "What do they want?" The child answered, "Me." The black ship didn't make a sound. It didn't send warnings. No messages. No lights. It just hovered above the planet like a shadow with no source. Everyone human and Velari stopped moving. Not because of power. Not because of time. Because of fear. Even the child whispered, "That thing. is older than anything I've seen in my dreams. Jack looked up at the silent sky. What is it? Zairi answered without looking. A collector. Jack turned. A collector of what? She finally looked at him, of beings like him. The collector ship released a single small object. It fell like a star and landed far beyond the village, deep in the forest. The air turned cold. Zairi grabbed the child's hand. We need to go, now, Jack shouted. Where? We don't even have a ship. Zairi turned, eyes sharp. We do, but it's not on this planet. They ran, no time to pack. No time to explain. Just run, through the forest. Across the river. To a stone cliff where no one ever went. There, hidden beneath the rocks, was a long silver pod, half buried, old. And definitely not Velari tech. Jack stared. What is this? Zairi touched the side. It lit up. The ground shook. A legacy ship, she said. It was left here 1,000 years ago, waiting. Jack frowned. Waiting for what? Zairi looked at the child. For him. The ship opened, and they climbed inside. The walls were smooth. No buttons, no controls. Just light and feeling. Jack touched nothing. But the ship moved anyway. It launched. Upward fast. Too fast. In seconds, the planet was far behind. Stars filled every window. Jack held onto the child. Are you okay? The child nodded. But then he said something strange. Something inside me is waking up. Zairi leaned forward. What do you feel? The child stared at his hands. They're not just mine anymore. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed through space. The collector ship was following them. It didn't chase. It glided like it already knew where they were going. Zairi touched the ship's core. We need to jump, Jack panicked. Jump where? Anywhere but here. She pushed her palm onto the light. The ship folded, not moved. Folded like space was paper, and in the next second, they were gone. Silenced. They arrived inside a dead zone. No stars. No gravity, no light. Just black space and a glowing orb in the distance. The ship stopped. And then, the child began to change. He floated upward. His eyes glowed silver, brighter than ever. Jack shouted, What's happening? Zairi whispered, He's reaching the next phase. The child's body shimmered. Symbols appeared on his skin, human and Velari, side by side. I can hear the others, he said. Jack blinked. What others? The child turned slowly. His voice was not just his own anymore. It echoed, the ones like me, the lost, the hidden, the broken. A sudden vision filled the ship. Jack saw other children across galaxies, all part human, all part something else. Each one glowing. Each one alone. Each one watched. Zyri held Jack's hand. Now you see, he isn't the only one. He's just the first to wake up, Jack whispered. What wakes them? The child answered, fear, pain, or love. But then the light changed again. The collector was near. Closer. This time, it spoke through the ship's walls. Surrender the hybrid, or witness collapse. Jack stepped in front of the child. No. Zairi stood beside him. We'll protect him, she said. The child raised his hand. I don't need protection anymore. His voice became calm. I remember my name now. The ship trembled. Stars returned to the windows. The universe pulled back into view. And the collector? Gone. Burned away by a pulse of pure light from the child's heart. Zairi fell to her knees. Jack stood in silence. The child looked at them both and smiled. I am ready now, he said. But then he added one final line. But the galaxy is not. Asterisk. The child stood in silence. Not a baby anymore. Not even a child. He looked like a teenager, now taller, stronger, glowing softly like a living star. His voice echoed across the ship when he spoke. I remember my name, but it is not just mine. Jack. And Zeri stood behind him, staring at what was now unfolding before them. Across the front window of the ship, 1,000 ships waited. Human war cruisers, Velari fleet carriers, and something else, dark machines with no flags, no symbols. Ships from nowhere. Ships built by fear. All had come for one reason. Jack whispered. They're all scared of you, Zeri added. They think you'll choose to destroy. The hybrid turned to them slowly. I could, you know that. His eyes were calm, but the air around him trembled. I could end all of it. Silence the machines, stop the fleets. Melt every weapon ever made. He looked out again. But if I do that, I become them. Suddenly, a signal came through the ship's walls. It wasn't a voice. It was a vote. The Galactic Council had declared the hybrid a universal-level threat. They were preparing to launch a weapon that had only ever been used once in history, something that could erase stars. Jack stared at the screen. They're serious. They think you'll snap. The hybrid closed his eyes. And then he smiled. Let them fire. Zeri stepped forward. What are you doing? He looked at her. Let them make their choice, so I can make mine. Outside, one of the human ships powered up its weapon. The dark machines locked on. The Velari ships didn't attack, but didn't stop it either. Shouted, we need to run. But the hybrid stood tall, still, glowing brighter. They will all see who I am. Then the weapon fired. A beam of white-hot death raced through space, straight toward their ship. Jack grabbed Zeri's hand. They didn't move. The hybrid didn't even blink. He simply raised his palm and caught it. The weapon froze mid-space, shaking like it was trying to break free. The hybrid crushed it slowly, like paper. Then he whispered one word, no. And the entire battlefield went dark. All ships lost power. Time slowed again. But this time, the hybrid didn't stop time. He entered it. He floated forward past machines, past soldiers, past fear, and entered the mind of every living being. Not to control them, not to threaten them, but to show them memories, emotions, laughter, pain, love. He showed them everything that made him human, and everything that made him Velari, and everything that made him something new. When the light faded, no one moved. The warships powered down. The dark machines drifted away. Velari leaders sent a message. We will not interfere. Human ships opened a channel. What are your terms? And the hybrid replied, I don't want to rule. I don't want to destroy. I want to build. Years passed. The hybrid created the first free world, a home for all species, no flags, no armies. Only knowledge and peace. Some still feared him, but many followed, because he didn't choose power, he chose mercy. One quiet night, Jack and Zeri sat beside a peaceful lake on that new world. They watched the stars. Jack smiled. You kissed me once, and now look at everything. Zeri laughed softly. Yes, one kiss changed the galaxy. And far above them, the hybrid floated in orbit. Watching, protecting, becoming something more than human, more than Velari, becoming hope.